Lisa. At this time of the year, I typically do a page where I summarize the previous year and I look forward to the new year, and it's always one of my favorite pages. Last year I did not get this done, but this year I do want to do this, and I want to do it just looking forward. 2017 was a different kind of year for me, and I explain this in my blog posts that go along with this and why I'm not going to be really looking back, but I'm going to be looking forward. And my goal for 2018, one of my objectives, has to do with trying to keep myself as healthy as possible. As far as I know, I'm pretty healthy, and I'd like to ensure or to give myself the best chance of continuing that good health for as many years as possible. And so I explain this more in the blog post and what I'm wanting to do. But as you'll see going through the page, I'll show you kind of where I'm going with this and what my objective is. I've got a couple of pictures here. I'm using them because, one, they were already printed and I want to do this, and two, they signify an accomplishment from 2017 that since I didn't get to do objectives and all last year, I didn't really write this down, but I finally lost some weight. And now it's been written on my objectives for the last several years, but I finally got it done in 2017. I don't know what that says about my objective process. So I didn't write it down, but I finally did it. But I finally committed in April to losing some weight, just a few pounds that I wanted to get rid of so that my clothes fit better. And that's what this picture is. This is a skirt that I hadn't worn in about 3 or 4 years because I could technically get in it, but it was uncomfortable. And now it's comfortable with a little bit of room to spare. So I'm really pleased about that, and I want to use that as motivation to do healthy things in 2018 as well. I don't want to lose more weight, but I want to move more and to eat some healthier foods. Because just because you're at a good weight doesn't always mean that you have the healthiest diet, is what I'm discovering. So anyway, I'm looking for papers. When I do this particular kind of page, I don't need a particular paper collection to signify something. I'm just picking something really pretty and motivational because it's a page that I hope to look at quite a bit throughout the year if I'm going back and revisiting the objectives. And I want to put this one up here in my craft room and somewhere in my house so I see it frequently to remind me of my objective. This is Fresh Cut from Basic Gray. I'm choosing between it and the Saturday collection from Dear Lizzie, and I also have some Maggie Holmes for Crepe Paper papers as well. This is one that I've used some. This one I haven't used at all, and it's got some pretty embellishments and beautiful, beautiful papers here. I like the stickers. There's one that says Season of New Beginnings. That's a good one. Also a reminder to enjoy the moment. Just lots of cool little stickers that go with this collection. And then the Saturdays collection, I picked it because also I liked the colors here and some of the patterns with the birds and little houses and everything. But there were some good wording here with a few of these items as well. And so I thought there was some cute stuff in this. But the colors, once I got them out, I realized they're very similar. I could almost combine them, and that's kind of what I'm inclined to do now, is to sort of pick, something from one of these as the background and then just kind of work from there and probably mix these, because as I say, these colors are just like they were made to go with each other. So I think I can work with both of them. And there's some things, I don't know if these are part of Saturdays or not, but anyway, I've got some more stickers. So I've got tons of product, and I'm looking for a one-page layout that shows what I want to do more of. I decided to take the approach, I was going to do the approach of let's do less of this, let's eat less red meat, and we'll eat more fruits and vegetables. Well, I've been doing a lot of reading on different motivational things. There's a lot of stuff out there this time of the year on different news feeds, and I've decided to take the approach of putting in as many of the positive things as I can and hoping that those will fill up my time and my stomach so that I don't do as many of the things that I want to have less of. I know which things I want to have less of, but I want to drink more water. I want to move more. That's my biggest one, is to move more and get more activity in. And so that's what I'm looking at as the more things. So I'm looking at what things that I want to do more of, so I'm going to have those listed out somehow on the page and kind of put these photos in there, and then some really cool embellishment just to make it look attractive and inspiring to me. So that's where I'm going with the page. So let's see. I'm going to put a lot on this page, so I probably want a background that's pretty basic. This is the most solid paper in this group, although orange is not my favorite color. I love this paper too. If that wouldn't be too busy. It probably wouldn't. Let's see what's over here in full sheets. It's another orange. And an orange I kind of like better. Ooh, I love wood grains. Love, love, love wood grains. So that could work. Well, since I don't know for sure what I want for the background, maybe I ought to do some of the foreground elements first. So let's look at these stickers and see which ones I think would really signify the kinds of things I'm wanting. Like the bicycle would be a wonderful way to show movement and activity, and it's so pretty. So let me get my piece of wax paper out here to pick out a few stickers that I know would be good for this. Apple. I'm not going to do a pretzel because pretzels can be healthy, but then again, they have gluten in them. I'm not going to go gluten-free. I don't think I could survive that. But I, unless I absolutely have to. But I have TMJ, and pretzels hurt me. There's some more fruit, but I think I like that little apple better. Let's see what else we got here. Picking out several stickers that I think that I'd like to use on the page, and I just put them on a piece of wax paper so they won't, so I can transfer them over. And I know I want to use that flower that you piece together from this collection. It's just some die cuts and you layer them together, so we'll get to that a little bit later on. When I was picking out colors, what really occurred to me for the background that I most needed to do was determine the title and that color, because that's going to rest right on the background. And I also remembered all of these border stickers, and I decided to put this sort of on an angle so the bicycle would be going up the hill and showing progress. It's not, I didn't really mean it to look like going uphill. Now I typed all of the what I wanted to say, the different objectives or the different little things that I wanted to do on a piece of white paper, and as I was going through the papers I discovered some ledger paper, and so I end up going back and retyping them on the ledger paper so they match the collection. One of the nice things about having a typewriter is that's real easy to do. Alright, so we're going to trim off the branding strip here on this green paper. That tended to be the best background, as so many of the other papers had the orange peachy colors in there. Now when you angle your 12-inch borders, of course they're not going to go all the way to the edge, but I figured that wouldn't hurt anything that much. Where I ran into a little bit of trouble is I started to pull these stickers off. These are some I bought on clearance, and I don't think I've had them all that long, so I haven't used that many of them, but boy are they stuck. They are so stuck they're tearing. So what I had to do was actually just cut out the thicker and use the backing sheet. Now some of them did come off. There were a couple that actually came off without tearing, so I was able to just use those and not trim them out. But I think that kind of looks nice the way they're trimmed there. And you still see the middle, that little bit of white. I used a little bit more border strip down on the bottom because I added some of that floral paper. I really wanted to work the floral paper in and not be too busy, so I just used this as a border on the bottom. And we'll put some things on top of it in a little while. So we have Do More 2018. I had 2018 in the other letters, but I wanted a contrast. That's why I did the black letters there. So before we put the stickers on, let's see, I'm pulling out these, well, I started to pull out the flowers, and then I decided to do that later. What I want to do next is to punch out some designs. I was going to do these like as arrows going up, and then I thought, I've got enough angles on this, I think I'll just do something round. So I've got my scallop punch, but the small scallop punch is not large enough, because when you start layering the stickers on the top of it, it disappears what's on the back of the little circles. So I am punching with the larger scallop punch. These are from Stamping Up. Just getting a whole bunch of these pretty designs out there. And we're going to layer these behind the words that I've typed up, or the phrases to signify the things that I want to do more of this year. And the bicycle will lay on top of some of it as it goes up the hill. I end up using this darker paper with the polka dotted or the dotted design. I didn't really like that one too much, but I needed the darker print because it was just getting too much of the same color. I also realized they were disappearing into each other because they needed something to form an edge, so I am going over the edge of the paper with some ink. And I happen to use Distress Oxide because these days I use Distress Oxide for practically everything. I'm at the point where when there's enough colors of that, I may just get rid of the rest of the inks that I have. I'm using it so much, as opposed to the other kinds of inks that I have. Alright, so I'm going to pull my sticker up just a little bit so I can tuck these down behind, let some of them lay off the edge of the page, and then I will trim them off at the end. And I almost had too many scallop circles to fit everything in. I also figured out when I put the bicycle on there that I needed to pull some of them up so that they're a little bit more visible, and it would look better if they weren't all in a row anyway. And to make putting them on easier, I'm using a little bit of Tombow adhesive. That's just a quick way to stick them in there, and then I can always tuck a little bit more adhesive in if I need it. This stuff holds so well that you don't need a whole lot of it. The only drawback to it is I tend to get it on my hands. It makes my hands a little bit sticky. Now I'm going to trim those photos down. They're a little larger than they need to be. And adding a few more stickers up at the top of the page because it's kind of bottom heavy at the moment. So we're going to balance it by adding a few things up at the top. The clouds, the sun, some of the word stickers, and I'm ready to trim out these words that I typed up on the ledger paper from the Saturday's collection. And then I'll just glue those on. I'm going to go ahead and put this flower together. Now there were several flowers in this whole grouping, and as I started working on it, I realized that one flower was probably going to be enough for this page, as much stuff as I had on it. I'm curling the edges, and my video ran out and you didn't get to see this, but what I ended up doing was putting some ink on the back side of that flower, of those flower petals, so when they curl up, you don't see the white. And just going to add a little bit of border around one of those stickers to kind of tie in the black accents that I have on the rest of the page. For a final touch, I added some small brads around the year and this Season of New Beginnings sticker at the bottom, and just a couple of other touches around the page to kind of echo this brad. I was going to do enamel dots, but I thought these are a better size. Now, one thing about putting brads on your page, when you go to put it in your page protector, it can tend to catch on the other pages that are in there. So if you take a little bit of washi tape and just go over the brads on the back, then it doesn't matter what color it is, just stick something over there, and then it'll slide in and out of your page protectors a lot easier. So stick that over there. Now, it makes a smoother back. You can, of course, put a whole sheet of paper back there too. This is a good use for some of those thinner papers, especially ones you're not fond of. So anyway, normally these pages have a lot of journaling for me, but this one doesn't. It just has some little keywords to help me remember the things that I want to add in to my diet and my activities, to try to squeeze out some of the less healthy choices that I make. And it's a pretty page, so hopefully it will be inspiring. And I'll probably leave this one out for quite a while. I have some frames that I got years ago at Target. They were designed for albums, music album covers, and they don't sell them anymore, these really large ones. But I might even put this in one of those so I just see it regularly around in my house. But anyway, here's a close-up of the page. using a combination of some basic gray fresh cut collection and this Saturdays from American Crafts. So thanks you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great 2018, and whatever you decide you want to work on for the year, if you scrap a page about it, I think that's a great way to get the year started.